Hello, Sonny Bonani. Welcome to the top tier of the Breakaway Racing League. Today, we are in Monza, the Temple of Speed, one of the fastest circuits as far as, indeed, a speed and the kind of times that the drivers will be clocking in. I absolutely cannot wait. Thank you for choosing the top tier Breakaway League Racing. We will have 18 minutes of this first qualifying session, this being the top tier, of course. We will have three of these qualifying sessions, Q1, Q2, and Q3, that being a full qualifying session. But since we have, quite a diminished grid, if you will, things will really get a little bit serious as far as getting knocked out of qualifying. Things will really get serious from Q2 onwards. So expect these drivers just to get a feel for the track and set some, not perhaps times which would blow our minds necessarily in Q1, but expect them just to set their banker laps, if you will. And then when the pressure just notches up in Q2, that is when one of these drivers will be knocked out. And then things will get really serious by the time Q3 kicks along. M. Fundo is here, as is the AlphaTauri duo of Mandla and Nkawako, a.k.a. D-Wax. As is now usually the case, Tapiso is one of the first drivers to come out onto the track. He doesn't waste any time, does Tapiso. He's always out very, very quickly. As you can see on your screen as well, the likes of Mandla, Nkawako, D-Wax, Malusi the Malusi, Lungs, Kaboza, and the three-time champion Cycle have just opted to come out initially on a set of medium compound tires just to get a feel for conditions out here. It's a beautiful day out here in Italy. We're here in Monza at this most iconic circuit. It's the home race for Tapiso. So, he will be doing everything he can to make sure he flies that scarlet red Ferrari flag as high as possible. The Tifosi are out here in full force, as you can see on these beautiful sweeping shots that we get of the Ferrari passing through. I see some flags representing all these different nations, but of course, the predominant color out here in Monza, in Italy, is the bold red of Ferrari. Now, Tapiso is going to be the first to set a representative time here. Let's see how hard he pushes. Well, now no incidents coming out of that initial chicane. Watches Sector 1 split to see what that'll be. He passes a slow-moving Williams on his way down towards this chicane. His Sector 1 split is 26.547. Tapiso on the soft compound tires lights up the track map purple. Of course, he's the first to set a representative time, so naturally it is going to be purple. And this is the perspective on board with Tapiso now, down to fourth gear through the right-hander, and he will send his Ferrari hurtling down under this bridge towards the braking zone. It is flat out, and his Sector 2 split is 54.434. So, really going for it is Tapiso. This section of track, that little chicane, is one where some drivers can come a cropper, but not in this instance. Tapiso managing to keep it together. I do wonder whether or not we'll see a time in the low 1 minute 20. Do you think he could reach that 1 minute 20 mark? Well, he's got a couple of seconds to do so. Here comes Tapiso towards the finish line. He will cross with a 121.837, the first representative time that we get to see out here. Zotal is on the verge here. Oh, Zotal is actually a little bit further back. But Zotal and Malusi the Malusi are the two drivers who are currently out. But it seems Malusi might have had an issue here. Oh, yes. Going completely off track. Is that a completely damaged wing? Oh, man. Yeah. The front wing taking a little bit of damage there. Malusi the Malusi having to abandon that attempt. So let's go back and see how Zotal fares now in Sector 2. His split is, at the end of Sector 1, is about 26.6. So it might be advantage to Tapiso as things stand. Zotal also opting to go out on the set of soft compound tires. The quickest compound of tires, of course. And perhaps he'll opt for mediums. Well, or perhaps he would have opted for mediums if he wanted to save his soft compound tires. So we'll see how Zotal fares. in Q1, just over 13 minutes. So the goal, and he spins in the final corner, does almost a complete 360, but manages to keep that car intact somehow. Zotal, whose heart must be pounding, thumping, manages to save that Alpine and will bring it crawling all the way home. Meanwhile, Mandla has crossed the line with a non-representative 139.455. There seems to be, is it Caboza? No, it's not Caboza. It might be his teammate who's on the verge of crossing the line here. He will cross with a 121.9, so fractionally, marginally off the mark as far as Cepiso's time is concerned. And speaking of the Ferrari driver, he's just crossed the line one more time, still getting a good feel of conditions to see how he fares. Well, Zotal will probably bring it back to the pits, but as I say that, Caboza is the quickest man on track. Medium compound tire sets a 121.444. Isn't that interesting? It's going to give us a taste of what is to come when Caboza opts for those soft compound tires. Another person on the mediums is the three-time champion, Seaflate. But sadly for him, he did invalidate his attempt. He's coming back into the pit lane to perhaps just gather himself once again. Let's catch up, meanwhile, with... is it Lungs? No, it's Ngawako D-Wax, whose teammate Mandla is going to cross the line with his first representative time. Definitely hoping to improve. But he might have invalidated. Well. Mandla, not quite going so smoothly out here. What about Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax? He will go P4, 122.631. Espuda, meanwhile, has crossed the line with a 121.9. So the two Williams looking quite comfortable in the early stages of this qualifying session. Well, Ngawako opts to take out those markers for some of the drivers who go off track. And Ngawako likely bringing his Alpha Tauri all the way back home. Cepiso is still there and thereabouts, going for quite a couple of laps. He's done the most. 3 laps on these soft compound tires, soon to be 4. So he's really pushing out here and hoping to get as comfortable as he can as this qualifying session ticks right on along. And Fundo is on the verge. This is his first representative lap, a man who we did mention last time out was in desperate need of points. Hello there, Mkini Kaya! In the comment section, we see you there. Good evening, it's good to see you out here. Mfundo in the Alpine is currently giving it his first initial go. A man who we've mentioned is one who needs the points, and well, he tucks into P4, not just D-Wax down to 5th place. Mfundo's effort on those soft tires, 122.341. And that's good enough for a P4 as things stand. He finished 6th last time out in France earlier this week. And yeah, 6th place is pretty much one of Mfundo's best results this season. Or, yeah, he has finished 6th in a couple of races, including the most recent race out in France. Mandla is back in the pits, but Malusi the Malusi had that huge mistake that we saw earlier on. Let's see how he fares now. Let's hop on board with the Mercedes driver. And we do wonder how he would have done. His sector 1 split is in the 26 seconds, midway through the 26 seconds. I wonder how his season would have gone were it not for load shedding and missing a couple of races. He is a superb talent, is Malusi the Malusi. So Django says he's hoping for a fight until the end, as this is a fast track. Absolutely. Django himself was involved in quite an interesting battle yesterday with the Elijah Sun Hathaway and the 86er, whose late mistake cost him a place on the podium. But we're watching Malusi the Malusi in the top tier on the very same track. It's beautiful conditions out here in Italy. Let's see how his third and final sector will go with 9 minutes of this Q1 to go. It's good to have you if you've just joined us. If you're in the comment section, Malusi the Malusi eases off on the throttle quite significantly. This, of course, being the same corner where Zotal spun so dramatically a little earlier on. Here comes Malusi. P6 on mediums, 123.024. Lungs out in the Red Bull is on the verge of starting his initial hot lap. Here comes Zotal, perhaps being haunted by ghosts of his previous attempt where he spun right here. No such issues this time. He is all out on the throttle through 6th gear, over shifting to 7th, and he's pushing the Alpine. It's going to be P6, 122.344 on the soft compound of tire. Loveness is also here for Alfa Romeo, so we'll see how he fares. Meanwhile, it looks like Ban Kobe is out on track, giving it his all, giving it a proper go. We'll see also how Ban Kobe fares a little bit later on. Meanwhile, I think Zotal had begun his hot lap, so let's catch up instead with Lung. A pacey driver. He's been on the podium a couple of times this season. This season has Lungello, a.k.a. Lung's codename Guzu. And with just under 8 minutes of the session to go, Mello the Mello has crashed out. Malusi the Malusi has crashed out in Sector 3, at the beginning of Sector 3. Look at the bottom of your screen, the bottom right on the track map. Lungs had actually just come out of the chicane where Malusi the Malusi crashed his Mercedes W13. Well, dramatic stuff. Malusi had a golden opportunity here just to keep his car nice and safe on track and to go through to Q2 and 3 and challenge for pole position, but that will not be the case. Malusi the Malusi has crashed out, and we have just 7 minutes of the qualifying session to go. Lungs crosses the line with a 122.990. Well. Molo, guys, is responding with a comment section. It is good to see you as well. Well, Malusi the Malusi will be absolutely fuming, kicking himself, reeling. Mellow on a controller, way, says Kid K in the comment section. Well, is that the case? Is he on a... well, he's usually racing on a racing wheel, as Lungus takes liberties with track limits, having put on his banker lap. Tapiso out as well. Tapiso might have retired in the pits. It's quite possible that Tapiso was just happy to retire his car in the pit lane, which of course would still see him through to Q2. What about Sequay? He had that huge mistake that we saw earlier on. He hasn't been able to set a banker lap as yet, but his Sector 2 split is absolutely sensational. 53 seconds, less than 54 seconds, but as I say that, he invalidates. So Sequay not looking very comfortable out here today. A couple of mistakes, but well, better now than later. Rather be making them now than coming to regret it a little bit later on. Now, the slow-moving Sequay was passed by Mandla, a.k.a. Romeo. He is going to come and cross the line. P8, 123.1, still on those medium compound tires. Of course, these drivers not seeing the need to take unnecessary risks so early in the game. There's really no need for that. Is Sequay giving it another go? The answer to that is yes. Let's hop on board with the champion, the three-time champion, the defending champion, the reigning champion, a man whose crown will not be rested off his shoulders. Or off his head, if you will. Now, we're going to watch closely to see what his Sector 2 split. Mandla makes way for the half. And he hurdles down now towards that Sector 2 split. He eased off on the throttle through the right-hander there. And being one of so many drivers on the medium, he knows he doesn't necessarily have to show his hand as far as his true pace is concerned as yet. There'll be all of the time for that in Q2 and 3, but his Sector 2 split is 54.034, which is still a very, very good effort. The quickest man thus far, with 4.5 minutes of his session to go, is Capoza, as Mispano notes how impressed she is with how much Capoza has improved. Capoza tops the time sheet 121.444 from Tapiso and S. Buddha. So the two Williams looking good, looking comfortable, and Sequay has really eased off the throttle. He opts just to come into the pits without having set that representative time. Mandla is also back in the pit lane, and that leaves Ban Kobe and Loveness as the two drivers who will have clean air as they look to set their representative times to secure their spots in Q2. Ban Kobe, a talented driver, another one who made his way out of the lower tiers of Brakeaway and pretty much established himself in the top tier quite comfortably. It hasn't been smooth sailing for Ban Kobe this season. It's been a mixed bag of results. He's looked good in qualifying on some tracks, and in some instances, hasn't been able to translate good qualifying into decent race results. But here he comes now through the initial chicane, almost going super wide, coming out of that chicane, but he keeps it together. No invalidation. It's still looking good, still looking clean for Brakeaway in those colors of McLaren. Teammate, of course, to the one and only Liddy. His Sector 1 split is a 27.1. So on the mediums, not quite challenging the really top runners as yet. But let's see how he fares as he makes his way around the fast sequence of right-handers. And Brakeaway keeping it together. He will point that McLaren straight down towards that small bridge. And, of course, look to get his line inch perfect at this chicane. Will his braking zone be perfect? Almost, yes. Heavy on the brakes there is Brakeaway. Was down to fourth gear through that chicane, but he lines it back up. Medium compound tires for Brakeaway. He's flat out gear 8, and I wonder how low his downshift will be this time. The answer is gear 5, as his red fuel light flashes, indicating that this will be his only run on this set of medium compound tires. Brakeaway will cross the line with a 123.034. It's only good enough for P8. What about Loveness following closely behind? Well, he has invalidated, has Loveness, unfortunately for him, so he's just going to have to give it another go. Will Loveness Tato, he's had a decent season, consolidating his position here in the top tier. Of course, a tier which is so difficult to keep your place. Such a competitive top tier, but Loveness has also featured among the podium places this season. We know, of course, how good he is in wet weather conditions, and how aggressive he can be when he looks to claw his way up position after position. He is absolutely ruthless, but in the very good and competitive sort of way. Here comes out. What is his Sector 1 split going to be? 27.058. Not too bad, as he looks to get that exit out of the chicane clean. Seems to be the case. It's down to gear 5 through this right-hander and flat out up to 6, back down to 5, and points that Alfa Romeo straight down towards the bridge. I'm pretty sure that Josh, aka Damnesia, Loveness's teammate, will be cheering him on wherever he may be. We haven't seen Josh in quite a bit now, as we look to see how Loveness will do towards the end here. He's definitely easing off, seemingly. Or he might have run out of fuel. Yeah, it looks like he's run out of fuel, so he's going to have to come back. Or perhaps he'll just cross the line and just be content with a slow banker lap. But Loveness is definitely going to have to bring it all the way back home. No representative time as yet. Someone who is approaching him very swiftly is this man, your champion, C-Clay, in the half. As this first qualifying session ticks and hurtles towards its inevitable end. Why did he invalidate the lap? Asked Brown Boy. That is interesting question to note. C-Clay, well, don't come back into the pits. Not yet. Made a couple of mistakes, has C-Clay, but not this time. 120.721, the quickest man by some margin. Caboza, well, his jaw drops somewhere in the garage there, barely believing the kind of time that C-Clay had put in here. Meanwhile, Loveness gets a final bite at the cherry, but it's going to be a slow one. He's run out of fuel, as you can see, that red light. Pretty much consigning Loveness to a very slow first sector, only in the 40 or so seconds, so he's just going to be nursing that Alfa Romeo all the way back home, and yeah. 120 on the medium, says Django. No, C-Clay set that 120 on a soft compound set of tires. And as I say that, C-Clay is bringing his car all the way back home. That is C-Clay, who's just going to bypass Loveness over there and carry straight on. Loveness is just nursing that car all the way home. And he just needs to cross the line, and that will be his representative lap, which will guarantee his spot in Q2. All he needs to do is cross that line, and Loveness will pretty much usher all of us in through to Q2. As the stewards begin the final countdown towards the next qualifying session. If you've just joined us, the quickest man thus far is Zikle, your champion from Kaboza, and Tapiso, third quickest in Q1. And Esbuda went fourth quickest from Ngawako, aka D-Wax, in P5, and Fundo, sixth quickest from teammate Zotal. Alpine's walking hand in hand there, and Lungs was P8. Loveness crossed the line 11th. Ban Kobe was P9, and Romeo Mandla 10th quickest in Q1. And unfortunately for Malusi the Malusi, he is out, having crashed out in Q1. Well, today was a golden opportunity for Malusi the Malusi to be fighting pretty much for pole position. We know what kind of pace he has, but that mistake in Q1, having already set a representative time, will cost him dearly. Mello the Mello will start from the back of this pack when this race begins. But of course, long way to go there as we get a sense of the tire choices. Just 3 drivers using 2 sets of tires. Zikle on the mediums and softs, as was Kaboza, and Mfundo already in Q1 using 2 sets of soft compound tires. Well, is that going to cost Mfundo later on as this session goes on? Stay tuned, folks. Time will tell. Let's catch up with the comments as we look forward to Q2 beginning in earnest. There will be no Malusi the Malusi. That huge mistake costing him dearly. Brown Boy's asking, is it going to rain? Well, wouldn't that be something, especially after the drama that we saw in Tier 3 last night. An absolutely hugely dramatic race. And, well, if we got another dose of that, that would make things oh so interesting. Brown Boy says, I hope not. It'll be good to see Brown Boy lining up here if he can make it at 8 p.m. or indeed join the lobby before racing gets underway. It looks like Zotal is still on that medium tire strategy, or running medium tires in Q2. That's either an insane level of confidence from Zotal, or he's just getting accustomed and acclimatized to the conditions out here before he gives it a proper push on softs. Well, time will tell. We'll watch closely and see how Zotal fares. About 4 drivers currently out on track. 5. Zotal makes it 5 as we watch Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, pass the slow-moving Ferrari of Tapiso, who's out here at his home race. Of course, looking very, very comfortable at the end of Q1, did Tapiso. He took some time to get used to the conditions and acclimatize to how everything feels out here on track. And then he really gave it a proper go and found himself towards the end of that session up among the top runners. But right now we're watching Ngawako, D-Wax. Very interesting, dependable, reliable, solid driver. Keeps his nose out of trouble, does D-Wax. And he racks up points consistently, lap after lap, race after race. Ngawako, he finished 5th last time out in France, so he'll be looking at the very least to match that result or go even better. He's had a couple of P5 finishes as Ngawako. In fact, P5 is the best result that he's had in this season, and he had a string of them. He finished 5th in Brazil, 5th in Bahrain, and as we watch now, will he manage to recover some pace and some speed to keep the rest of this lap together? 12 or so minutes of this qualifying session to go. We're on board with Ngawako, aka D-Wax. Let's see, his Sector 1 split is slow, so that first chicane really costing him dearly. He had that split at around 29 or so seconds. Brown Boy hopes to join us a little bit later. That'll be really good to see. I do wonder if Ngawako will still be pushing quite hard towards the end of the lap. It looks like it. He's just going to be happy to set a representative time, and then later on in this session, set a decent time to be able to secure his spot in Q3. Remember, one of these drivers is getting knocked out here, so the stakes are raised somewhat, even though they were low in Q1. Everybody needs to be in their top form here to make sure they secure their spot in the top 10 shootout. The Haas of Seaclay will cross the line with a 121.379. And, of course, Ngawako, moving quite slowly, will come nowhere near that, but he's going to be happy just to cross the line and set that initial representative time. That looks like an Alpine might have spun. Was it Zotal? No. Oh! No, Zotal crosses the line with a 121.554, and his teammate Mfundo might have had a huge moment here. Yeah, he comes back into the pit lane. And meanwhile, Loveness also abandoning while he invalidated, so he's coming back into the pits. Tapiso is the quickest man out on track. Would you look at that? Soft compound tires, he's quicker than the three-time champion Seaclay with that 121.272. Beautiful stuff. Being cheered on here by the 12th man, that being the Tifosi at his home race for Ferrari. Seaclay only P2 from Caboza. In third, Zotal crosses the line P4. Mandla is fifth quickest from Esbuda, currently P6. And Ngawako D-Wax, of course, having made that mistake earlier, was only good enough for P7 as things stand. But he is giving it another go, so let's see how his first proper push will go with just over 10 minutes of this session to go. I do wonder if Seaclay, ahead of D-Wax, is giving it a proper go, or if he's just going to come back into the pits. And the answer to that is straight back into the pits. And Ngawako, D-Wax, pushing, huffing, puffing as hard as he can. Will cross the line. 121.7. It's P5. Tucks right ahead of Mandla, his teammate. So, interesting stuff there. Esbuda is probably making his way back to the pits. He's running currently in Sector 2 as his red light is flashing. Meanwhile, Mandla has made his way back to the pits, and someone who's on the verge of beginning his initial hot lap attempt is Ban Kobe. Let's see how he fares as we go on board with the McLaren driver. With just over 9 minutes of the session to go, into turn 1 comes Ban Kobe. A little bit late on the brakes, goes wide of the apex in turn 1. Turn 2, a tad cleaner, but that missed apex will definitely cost him. Let's see what his Sector 1 split will be as he approaches that, hurdles towards that split. It's a 26.9. Ban Kobe will definitely know that turn 1 is a point to improve upon if he's going to give it another go towards the end of this Q2 and indeed in Q3. He needs to clean up that initial turn. Here he comes now. Sector 2, first right-hander. No issues there. Towards the bridge he goes. And towards the braking points. 54.6 split. Almost invalidates there. He went quite heavy onto the curves, did Ban Kobe, but no invalidation. He keeps it together now in the final section of the track. It's going to be the long looping right-hander down to 5th, and this is essentially his only shots he's going to get on this amount of fuel, and he's going to have to come back and refuel. 122.3, it's good enough for P8. He's definitely not safe enough. Remember, only 10 of these drivers make it through to Q2. Lungs is on a push lap. His Sector 1 split was a 26.6. Let's see now how he fares as he gives it another proper go. Tapiso is on another push lap. He's further ahead, as you can see on the bottom right on the track map. Tapiso is on the verge of crossing the line. If he doesn't come straight into the pits, he is pushing his Tapiso, and he doesn't improve, does Tapiso, while Lung's Sector 2 split is in the 54 seconds. So this is an absolutely scorching lap from Lung that we're about to see. As we've already passed the halfway mark of this Q2, Lungs is on the verge of putting something really beautiful, really sensational together. Let's see if that will be the case. Points the car down towards the start-finish line. And it's P6, 121.755. He's pretty quick through Sectors 1 and 2, but Sector 3 is where he lost a little bit of momentum with Lungs. And we saw earlier on Mfundo had a bit of a moment that cost his initial attempt. Seaclay. Oh, Tapiso. What happened to Tapiso? He crashed out. Tapiso crashed out in Sector 2. Look at the bottom of the track map. coming out of the right-hander, he crashed out to Tapiso. Oh man, before going on that on the last chicane, Loveness sets a 122.070. Tapiso, who's looking so quick, is out. And all Infundo needs to do now is just cross the line, and he will safely be through to Q3. Oh, Tapiso squandering a golden opportunity. Mispano says, well, that's more on brand. What the heck happened to Tapiso? He crashed out in Q2. In Sector 2, man, oh man, Infundo just needs to keep it clean here. And, well, he's got a clean run all the way through to Q3. And all the drivers in the paddock can breathe easy now. Cicle, Capoza, Zotal, D-Wax, Lungs, Manlove, Loveless, Espuda, and Ban Kobe. Well, all they need to do is just keep it together, and they're through to Q3. With no incidents, Tapiso making the lives of all these drivers much, much easier. With 5.5 minutes of qualifying session to go, Tapiso will join Malusi and Malusi at the back of the pack here. Man, oh man, oh man. Here comes Infundo, grinning from ear to ear in the Alpine now, knowing that all he needs to do is just cross the line, and, well, he'll pretty much have it together. Tapiso lamenting that mistake, costing him a spot in Q3. It would have been so beautiful to see what Tapiso could have done. He was looking sensational in the first 2 qualifying sessions. And, well, without having to push again, Cicle is now top of the timesheets once again. Infundo crosses the line with a 122.198. It's good enough for P8. And, well, all he needs to do is just nurse it back home. And, well, he will have no incidents. Meanwhile,
Yes,
we just crossed the line to D-Wax, who came unstuck here as he brings it into the gravel. He made way, of course, for the drivers that are on their push laps. And Gawako, who was given it a proper go, managed to save his car, and, well, he's just going to nurse that Alpha Tauri all the way back home. What an effort from Zotal, it must be said. He's in the pits now, but he did set the 3rd quickest time on a set of medium compound tires. Is Zotal challenging for pole position today? 121.5 on mediums. Well, well, well. Isn't that interesting? Infundo is going 0.3 quicker. He's given it another go. That red light is flashing. He's wingless, is Infundo. Even though it looked like he was going quicker. No, he's definitely nursing that Alpine, bringing it back home. That front wing is gone. Absolutely gone. What about Espuda? His best time so far is a 122.2. And it looks like the Williams might just be giving each other a tow here. Or was it a case of Espuda not quite being on here? Was Capoza giving him a tow? Capoza, currently P2, is also on a push lap. But let's stay on board with his teammate, Espuda. See how he fares now. His Sector 1 split is 3.5 tenths quicker than his previous best time. Can he keep it together? Well, that would send him comfortably into the 121s, the high 121s as things stand, but he needs to keep it together through Sectors 2 and 3. 3 minutes of Q2 to go. How will Espuda do? Can he challenge the likes of Mavlov's times? Lungs' times, perhaps? Well, his Sector 2 split will be 4 tenths quicker. 54.1, looking very, very good is Espuda as he approaches a slow-moving Alpha Tauri. Oh, he'll get a little bit of a tow. No, it's his teammate. It's Capoza dragging him along. Beautiful piece of teamwork from the Williams. Capoza makes way for his teammate to get even quicker as they work well together, do these two, and you could expect them to do exactly that in Q3. A taste of something to come as Buddha pushes and pushes, but it's P7 121.888 for the Williams driver. Very, very interesting indeed as this Q2 session comes towards its conclusion. Capoza will come straight back into the pits, having helped and given his teammates a slipstream and a nice tow. Espuda, whose heart will be thumping, having pushed so hard, is coming straight back into, probably straight back into the pits. Bankobi is pushing once again, currently sits bottom over here. It says P11, but Tapiso's mistake basically means that as things stand, Bankobi is virtually P10 through Q2. Let's hop on board with the McLaren driver, see how the rest of his lap fares. 1 minute 40 seconds of this first of the second qualifying session to go. He's given it a proper go. Is Brakeaway might yet be on the verge of improving, depending on his sector 2 split. It's going to be a 54.1, 4.5 tenths quicker than his previous best time. He's looking comfortable, but he eased up on the throttle as he got his line a little bit mudded over there. And I do wonder how many hundredths of a second, or indeed how many tenths, that might cost Brakeaway as he looks to improve and Pippa and Fundo and perhaps Loveness and Buddha, if he could keep it together. He went all the way down to 5th gear, coming through the final corner, and Brakeaway's push with less than a minute of the session to go is gonna send him to P8, 121.951. All of the top 8 drivers are in the 121s. So Q3 is going to need something extra special as Brakeaway makes his way back towards the pit lane. Everybody else is comfortable. C-Clay is quickest through Q2. From Kaboza, from Zotile, who I would have you know is giving it one final push, as is his teammate, Mfundo. So Zotile currently on an outlap, and Mfundo is already on his push lap, as he's on the verge of passing the slow-moving Brakeaway, who's bringing his McLaren back home. Here comes Mfundo now. His teammate, Zotile, a little bit further ahead. No, Zotile's crossed the line, so Zotile's done as far as his session is concerned. So Mfundo, the last remaining runner out here on track. Under the bridge goes Mfundo, crosses the line. He's gone slower. 54.6 is about a tenth or so slower than his previous best time. So Mfundo not improving as yet, but he needs not worry too much because Tapiso is indeed out. So there are only 10 drivers that are guaranteed a spot in Q3, and Mfundo will definitely be making it as he catches up to his teammate, that being Zotile. He get a mini toe, and will cross the line a tenth slower. So his previous best time is still that 122.1. Brakeaway will cross the line, becoming the man to pretty much end proceedings here in the pit lane. And the quickest man at the end of Q2 is your champion, C-Clay, with a 121.379. Kaboza, P2, 121.396. Zotile, third quickest on mediums, it must be noted. 121.554 from Nkawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, 121.723. Lugs is P5. Mandla, P6 with that 121.768 from Buddha, 121.888. Brakeaway, P8. Loveness, 9th. And Mfundo is the 10th and final driver to make it through to Q3. Man Ray and Tapiso having a little bit of a moment in the comment section. Says, hey Tapiso, I was watching last night's race and I saw you had a lot to say about me. That's what Man Ray's saying in the comment section. Brakeaway is under pressure. He needs to beat Tapiso's time. But he did so. He made it through, and he's going to be fine. Tapiso, having crashed out, is out of proceedings. And, well, even Mfundo. Oh, Mfundo did not make it through. I thought he would have, but no, he's out. So, Loveness, Brakeaway, Buddha, Romeo, Lungs, D-Wax, Zotile, Kaboza, and C-Clay, your 9 drivers who are going to be juking it out for that P1 spot. Well, we saw Tapiso, who was looking so comfortable, but unfortunately couldn't make it. We saw Malusi as well, not able to make it through to Q2 earlier on today. Kaboza's been quick. Zotile set a decent time on mediums. Can those two challenge C-Clay? Will D-Wax, Mandla, Buddha surprise us? What about Loveness or Lungs? Let us know in the comment section what your expectations are for P1, 2, and 3. 12 minutes they have to secure pole position, and then we go racing in Monza. Tapiso reckons P1 to 3 will be the same as we saw in Q2. So, pretty straightforward expectation that Tapiso has over there. Nobody's wasting any time. Everybody on the soft compound set of tires. Nobody experimenting with mediums in a Q3. Of course, this is the crucial one. They will know by now. Oh, who's that? Is that Mandla? Or is that D-Wax who just had a huge spin over there? Well. It was Mandla. Mandla coming out of turn 1. Spun and he was facing the wrong way. But, well, he got his bearings back together. He's, the car is pointing the right way now. So he is gonna get set and with steely determination look to give all these guys a lot to think about in the rest of the session. Ngawako, D-Wax is currently behind your champion, that being Seaclay, and these two will be the first to set those representative lap times. Now, as I say that, let's hop on board with the one, the only, Seaclay, unbowed, unbent, unbroken, unchallenged this season, on board with the Haas driver, hurdles towards turn 1. He is going to lay down the early marker for the rest of the pack to match. Braking point, no issues there. Turns 1 and 2 without incident. He was all the way down as far as gears are concerned there. And he sends that Haas screaming, hurtling down towards the first split for Sector 1. And for Seaclay, it's going to be a 26.3672. Not bad indeed. Absolutely decent push for Seaclay. Keeping it so clean. Look at the lines that he takes. Look at the limits as far as the curbs and the track limits are concerned. He is absolutely so comfortable at running that Haas on the limit as he now pushes to go under the bridge towards this upcoming chicane. It's Seaclay in Sector 2, 53.2 split, which is sensational. We've seen a lot of splits in the 54 seconds, and he goes in the low 53. So this is a beautiful time that we have in prospect here if he can keep it together towards the end. And how tight will he go on this final apex? Well, it's down to gear 6 as he goes flat out on the exit of the final corner, and the Haas screams towards a 120.319. D-Wax follows closely behind. What will it be for him? For Alpha Tauri, it's going to be 121.9. So daylight between the two drivers. It looks like Zotal might be on the verge. Zotal is spun. Zotal spins once again at the same corner where he struggled last time. Mandla is on the verge of crossing the start-finish line. It's going to be a 121.637 for Mandla. What about Loveness? 22.068. And, well, Zotal struggling to get to grips with the conditions out here today. Lungs is currently on an outlap, so we're going to catch up with him in a second or two. And Loveness is going to probably bring it back home here, having currently been invalidated and coming out of turn 1. Let's catch up with Lungs and see how he fares now. Bankobi is still in the pits, perhaps happy to bide his time, as is Kaboza. Zotal is back in the pits, and Esbuda is back. Tapiso lamenting the fact that he could have started on the podium. Absolutely, Tapiso is looking sensational today. Lungs comes out in the first chicane without incident. Let's hop on board the RB18 of Lungs and see how he fares now. Man Ray says crashing out with a good time makes it so hard for the remaining gents. 26.8 is the Sector 1 split. So he's definitely got some time to make up relative to the likes of Seaclay. Mandla currently P2 from his teammate Ngawako, aka D-Wax. So the Alpha Tower is looking good, looking solid, but nobody yet challenging Seaclay, who is the only person today to breach that 1 minute 20 second barrier into the 120.319. Lungs, how will he take that initial part of the chicane? It was gear 5 initially. He had to be quite careful as far as his braking point was concerned. I do wonder if he can challenge the two Alpha Tauris, sitting pretty in P2 and 3 respectively as things stand. Of course, Lungs is the sole Red Bull runner currently, flying that royal blue flag as high as he possibly can. Towards the line comes Lungs, P5 behind Loveness, 22.092. The You really pushed the Lungs, but knowing you're close enough. Tindo in the comments says, only CK can qualify to be in Tier 2 with his times. Tindo representing the pride of Tier 2 as things stand. And Tabiso says, I can't wait for you guys to switch off all the assists fully in Tier 1. And Lungs is going to bring his car back home. Let's catch up now with S. Buddha. Is that his teammate running closely behind him? Perhaps. But Kapoza is currently on an outlap. He's running ahead of S. Buddha, trying to give him a tow. So, the Williams cars, Sector 1 split of 26.5 is very, very good for S. Buddha. He's definitely going quicker than Lungs as things stand. He needs to keep it together for the rest of his lap. Kapoza is trying his absolute best. He's pushing and pushing on behalf of his teammate, trying to give him that little bit of a tow. Remember, Kapoza is still only on his outlap as he tries to give S. Buddha a slipstream, but there's quite a bit of distance between the two Williams cars. It's gear 5 for S. Buddha through the initial part of the chicane, and Kapoza will be telling S. Buddha, all right, just tuck it to my slipstream. I'm going to give you as much of a tow as I possibly can. And S. Buddha inches closer and closer. Kapoza makes way for his teammate. S. Buddha has to carry this momentum all the way down to the line. What'll it be? With just over 4.5 minutes of the session to go, they gave each other a tow, but it's only good enough for P6 behind Lungs is S. Buddha, as Kapoza is going to carry on pushing and expect his teammate to return the favor here. But S. Buddha tucks out of the racing line to make sure that Kapoza manages to stay clean through the first chicane. I do wonder what kind of a Sector 1 split it will be, as Buddha might need to slow down here, or perhaps they've told each other that we're going to give each other tows later on. Kapoza's Sector 1 split of a 26.3 is very, very good, potentially challenging the likes of Mandla and Ngawako D-Wax up there, if he can keep it together. There is his teammate telling him to just watch the line, keep it clean, keep it together, tuck into my slipstream, giving each other a beautiful tow with just over 3 minutes in qualifying session to go. It is Kapoza looking to challenge the top runners, and if Buddha's going to need to make way here, he does exactly that. Oh, Kapoza just goes a little bit unstuck there at the first part of the chicane. Perhaps he was worried that Buddha was not going to be making way in time. Kapoza, it's all on you now, as Buddha is pretty much off track, not necessarily giving you a tow on this stretch of the track. What can Kapoza do? How much will that chicane, that final chicane, cost him? Towards the end of his lap here, he opens up that rear wing, crosses the line, P3. Zotal, meanwhile, has nudged both of the Alpines down. He just finished his time, did Zotal, with a beautiful 121.1. A beautiful effort from Zotal, and Mandla and Ngawako D-Wax have been nudged all the way down to P4 and 5, respectively. What about Bankobi? Let's catch up with him. He's just begun his initial representative time. He has waited and waited. Of course, track conditions do improve out here as these drivers keep on laying down some of that tire rubber on this track. Of course, it becomes more and more grippier, if you will, for the drivers who choose to go out later and later. But Bankobi, whose split of a 26.3 is very good initially, has a little bit of a moment, has to correct his line. That'll definitely cost him. His Sector 1 split was beautiful, but Bankobi, coming out of that chicane, found himself in a little bit of a rough spot, and the pressure is on. He doesn't have a lot of time. He's probably going to have to keep on pushing, because he definitely won't have time to refuel if he runs out of fuel towards the end of his run. 53.9 split at the end of Sector 2, and he invalidates! Bankobi has invalidated his initial attempt. Oh, man. Under pressure, less than 2 minutes of the session to go. He's just going to have to keep on pushing and give it another go. But that red fuel light is flashing. Oh, Bankobi, is he going to run out of fuel towards the end here? Oh, Bankobi will be absolutely livid. I do wonder if he's going to take the risk. The answer is yes. He's coming back into the pit, and he's going to have to come out as soon as he humanly can. Meanwhile, Loveness for Alfa Romeo is on the verge here, and Ngawako D-Wax has come back into the pit. Mandla is further behind Loveness here, so we're going to catch up with him on his brand new set of soft tires to see what Mandla can do. Loveness, P6, 121.761. P6 is currently the best that Loveness can do. And behind him is Lungs and the pair of Esbuda and Band Kobe. Well. I don't think those two will have enough time to come back into the reckoning here to give it a proper go. Let's catch up with Mandela, see how he fares. Well, the answer is he's improved by 0.3, but he's coming back. He made a huge mistake, probably, even though he had improved at another part of the track. Lungs has given it a final push as Mandela was coming back in. Let's see what he can do. But before we hop on board with Lungs, let's see how C-Clay is doing. Looks like he's going slower. He's going about 1/10 slower. So C-Clay not improving thus far. And ahead of C-Clay, the champion, is Loveness, who's given it another final push. Did Bromboy join? I did not see that, Santalame is asking. I do wonder if he can make it into the session. He's got 11 seconds to join the session, does Bromboy. And C-Clay, of course, was given it a huge push, but as things stood at the end of Sector 1, the C-Clay's attempt wasn't quite managing to challenge his own time. But he's still the only man to set a time in the 120s, and he has a huge spin in the final turn, facing completely the wrong way. He's going to have to get out of the way, as Zotal seems to have left the session. I do hope it's not a load shedding for Zotal or something like that. C-Clay, huge mistake towards the end. He's coming back into the pits. But as things stand, it's provisional pole position for him. It's definitely pole position because the only man who's still running and could possibly challenge him, if he can keep it together, is Lungs. So C-Clay currently in pole position from Lungs, who crosses the line. P2 with a 120.895 at the death of Q3. Lungs puts together a sensational lap to be only the second man today to set a time in the 1:20s. Lungs, absolutely sensational effort. But it's going to be front row starts for the Red Bull driver. What an absolutely sensational push from Lungs. Well, would you look at that? It is C-Clay in pole position from Lungs, Zotal in P2 and 3, respectively. Kapoza, P4 for Williams from Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, whose teammate Romeo Mandla is currently P6. Loveness qualifies in 7th place. He will start from that position. Esbuda will start from 8th. Band Kobe from 9th spot. And then remember Tapiso and Mfundo in those P10 and 11 spots, respectively. Well, all drivers using 2 sets of soft compound tires, with the exception of Esbuda and Band Kobe, who will start this race from P9. Monster lap for Lung, says Django. And C-Clay regretting some of his choices that he made a little bit earlier, perhaps as far as tire choice is concerned. But it's good to see that Enlebo, C-Clay's teammate, will be flying the flag for Haas and fighting from the back of the pack here, as will Bromboy for Red Bull. So they're going to give a lot of those drivers pretty much a lot to think about. Malusi, Enlebo, Bromboy, hunting you down from the back of the pack. Well, they're no slouches. We can look forward to an interesting race here, especially if we have some incidents earlier on and safety cars which could bunch the pack up together. So it's a fast track. Drivers are running low downforce to take advantage of the long straights. And we've seen things, we've seen drivers come unstuck as far as cornering is concerned, as far as carrying too much speed out of certain corners and then hitting walls, crashing out, hitting each other. We saw the drama last night in Tier 2 between Tindo and Tabo T92. Will we see similar incidents and similar drama, similar fights? Well. Wouldn't that be interesting? We'll soon be racing out here in Monza, but first off, before that, of course, they're going to go for that formation lap in less than 30 seconds as we get a beautiful view of the F1 Paddock Club, the lucky few people who managed to secure the plush seats, the plush tickets, and they get a close-up view of the actual paddock, and they get a taste of the pit stops and see how quick the teams are and get a sense of the mood, the emotion, the feeling in the garage as these drivers get set to begin what hopefully is going to be a beautifully memorable race in the top tier of the Breakaway Racing League. 14 drivers are here. And oh, what a beautiful racing prospect we have. Let's get a sense of what they're thinking as far as tire strategies are concerned. It looks like a mixed bag. Top two running hard compound tires. Zotal on the mediums. Kaboza also running on hard tires. And Gowacko and Mandla. Interesting that the AlphaTauris are opting for a similar strategy. Sadly for Zotal, looks like he's having network issues. He's not yet able to rejoin. Oh man, hopefully we'll see Zotal here. Because it would definitely be sad. A man who's worked so hard to qualify so high, not able to rejoin. So the AlphaTauris running mediums, as is Tato, aka Loveness, and Esbuda and Bankobi opting to start on those hard compound tires. Tapiso and Mfundo mediums for them. Malusi the Malusi and Brown Boy are going to go long, hard tires to start off for them, and Nebo is going on those medium compound tires. Malusi and Brown Boy have a lot of work to do, says Smurf Jango in the comment section. Absolutely. Zotal will get disqualified at this rate, says Kid K. Man, that's going to be sad. It's going to be a double DSQ for Alpine, because even Mfundo is ghosted, having fallen out of the session. Well, that's some sad news. But it's going to be good news for Malusi, Brown Boy, and Unlebo, who will not have to fight with Mfundo at the start of this race. And what was going to be a decent day for Alpine is turning into really a terrible nightmare. And Zotal, at the very least, will hope to rejoin this race somehow. But as things stand, he's going to be disqualified. Zotal's going to be disqualified unless his car manages to keep running and he can find himself back in the reckoning here. Here comes Lungs. Yeah, that's correct. Bertats will not see Zotal spin during the race. Zotal doesn't quite hit his rather Lungs, almost missed his mark, but he manages to keep it together. And the drivers running at the back of this pack are going to make sure that they get their positions absolutely inch perfect towards the end here. And let's see how things will fare now towards the end or the beginning of this race. It is 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. It is Sikle from Lungs from Zotal, whose ghost looks to have given these guys a lot to think about. Look at Kaposa's race start on the outside, and he has the inside line on Sikle into the race lead. But no, Sikle fights. Sikle goes off track. He cuts the corner to Sikle, looking to regain an advantage. I wonder if they'll get a penalty for that. Lungs is fighting there and thereabout. It's P4 for him, and Gowacko D-West gains 2 places, but Sikle is fighting right back to reclaim his spot among the top runners before we get to the end of lap 1. But he starts for Loveness, getting 2 places, and the likes of Sikle has dropped 3, as has Mandla. And look at Zotal, the ghost of Zotal, dropping and dropping, as is the case for Mfundo as well. Tindo is in the session, perhaps to join here in the commentary box, so we'll see exactly how things go from him. Brilliant from Kaboza, absolutely. Kaboza's race starts are sensational, you would note, so he's doing absolutely well. Van Kobe hasn't gone too well for him. He's having a huge fight with Malusi the Malusi further down in the grid. But look at that gap. Kaboza building some, getting some breathing space between himself and Lungs. Meanwhile, Sikle goes side by side, and Sikle passes the AlphaTauri of D-Wax, going into that fast right-hand corner. Loveness is there to take full advantage if anybody makes the tiniest mistake. And D-Wax looks to go on the inside to cover Loveness, and these gotta be careful not to bump off track. Loveness is gonna get this move down there side by side, wheel to wheel, going the drag race towards turn 1. Sikle will have a P3 spot at the very least, but here comes Loveness. He's the one on the inside, and Sikle is gonna fall down, but keep that momentum going into turn 1. So Loveness is absolutely sending it here at the start of this race, and we're going to get a sense of whether or not they can keep it together here towards the as lap 2 soon will be lap 3, and we will then get DRS. Absolutely sensational stuff. Loveness is chasing Cycle, and he himself is being hunted down by the AlphaTauri of D-Wax, who's just been surpassed by Mandla. Well. Esbuda is now hunting down the pair of AlphaTauris. It is absolutely crazy out here in Monza. We're getting a bit of an echo from Tindo, who's just joined the commentary box. Tindo, dramatic start.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just trying to fix up my sound here quickly. I'll get back to you just now.
D-Wax and Mandla have swapped places, and Gawako was fighting for the podium places, but man, was not able to keep things together here. Team Alpine having major technical issues. Hopefully they can get themselves sorted out, and we'll see whether or not that will be the case. Meanwhile, the likes of Tepiso and Esbuda, we're not going to go down without a fight. Malusi goes on the inside of both of them. It's a three-way fight. Two Formula One cars go round the outside, round the inside as Malusi looks to get the hunt towards turn one. But Brown Boy is also there and thereabouts. It is an absolute huge battle towards the back of the pack here, as Caboza has built up a 2.4-second gap between himself and Lungs at the front of the pack. Look at the viewpoint from Caboza. Look at the DRS train potentially, as lap 3 means the stewards have enabled DRS. Van Kobe using all of his battery power to go on the outside of Brown Boy, and he's going to get that move done coming into the chicane. A beautiful move by Van Kobe. Oh, he's got to get it straight into the pistol. Van Kobe, what are you doing? He's spinning around. He is absolutely wrecked Tepiso's prospect as well.
What on earth is he doing there?
Van Kobe carrying too much speed, way too much speed. He missed his braking points and compromised so many cars in the process. The likes of Malusi will be thanking the lucky stars that they did not get hit. They did not get hit over there.
Disaster.
Oh my word. And there's a huge fight between Tepiso and Malusi the Malusi, who has to concede and go slightly off track, and that brings Enlevel into the reckoning. But oh my word, oh my goodness, these fights are absolutely sensational. It's Enlevel versus Tepiso versus Loveness, who has fallen so far back. Here comes Enlevel now. He's fighting, of course. Oh, almost goes and tags Malusi the Malusi. That would have been a huge incident. Malusi crashes. What the heck is going on? Ethan has crashed, and they've got no wings. It is absolute pandemonium here in Monza. Malusi the Malusi was fighting his way back into the reckoning, but has to pit so early from those hard compound tires, perhaps to change wings over there. But the battle is not over. Oh, Enlevel goes into the back of Tepiso. What is going on? What is going on? It's too much excitement. It's missed the braking points, and drivers are crashing into each other, making each other spin. People are cussing, cursing. Fists are flying as far as people brandishing fists. And
elbows out. Yeah,
absolutely. There's drama all over the pack here. And as Crash asking, what on earth is going on? It's drama, but in the most unexpected sense. Malusi the Malusi first to come into the pits for a set of medium compound tires, as we watch Ban Kobe versus Loveness versus Tepiso. Ban Kobe, who himself is looking to atone and perhaps come close enough to Tepiso to whisper sorry for hitting him earlier on. Loveness is fighting to overtake the Ferrari. On board now with Ban Kobe on those hard compound tires, looking to overtake or challenge the medium tire runners. It's a mess. Last race of the season, says Django. Absolute, pandemonium. Not what we're used to in the top tier of the Breakaway Racing League. Missed braking points, collisions, and here comes Loveness on the attack. He's side by side as Loveness going up against the Tepiso. He has the inside line. Ban Kobe's going to look to take advantage, but Tepiso's straight line speed is far superior to Loveness as things stand. Will he be able to block Loveness? No!
Break.
Loveness has the inside line. Ban Kobe, watch your brakes this time. Oh, Loveness has to cut the corner a little bit there to make sure he stays clean, or as clean as he possibly can coming out of this chicane. Ban Kobe losing ground at that exit of that particular corner, and he's going to have to work his way back into the reckoning. Lap 5, fast track, fast exits, and spin, says Kid K. It's been drama, a dishing of drama. Here comes Ban Kobe versus Loveness versus Tepiso. He's hunting down that red Ferrari, and it's so difficult. Missed braking points, Tindo. It's drama over here.
Drama, it's so much dramatic. The thing is, when you miss your braking point, you're definitely going to your opponent. Because now the corners, I don't know what to say, it's too sharp or what, because you face the car if you miss the brake point. And it's either you're going to damage your wing or you're going to DNF.
Absolutely, as Loveness is careful not to go into the back of the Ferrari, but he lined it up. He carried much more speed than Tapiso, and they go side by side. But Tapiso using all of that battery to make sure he stays ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Bad Kobe is back in the reckoning. He can smell blood. If any of these two make a potential mistake, Loveness is on the inside, and Loveness is ahead of the Ferrari as they make the drag race down towards turn one. Loveness is now going to have to use his battery power. Tapiso's fighting back. He's on the inside. Two Formula One cars go around the inside. Around the inside, it's Ben Kobe. Who's going to brake left? Who's going to brake left? They make a little bit of contact with Ben Kobe. Relents. He does not want to crash into them. And Tapiso holds on to the lead. Who gets a cleaner exit between Ben Kobe and Loveness? They're going to be side by side now. It's beautiful. Much more respectful racing this time than last time out. Ben Kobe is ahead of Loveness, who will now look to fight his way back into the reckoning.
Guys, I think it's a lesson to some guys in Tier 2 on that corner specifically. I mentioned names. I think you can see two cars can go on that corner, can go on that lane, Jay.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. Meanwhile, we cannot neglect the fact that Kaposa is having a beautiful race. Brown Boy has crashed out in lap 6 of 27. Brown Boy seems to have lost his car in Sector 3. Sector 3, bringing out the full safety car.
Sector 2, right after the... but it's in Sector 2. That's when he lost it. I think he went off track. He should have touched the sand there, and he went straight to the wall.
Mandla
drive-through penalty
under safety car. Perhaps the adrenaline is still flowing too much. Zotal has rejoined the lobby. He'll thank his lucky stars that the safety car was out. But I don't know if the likes of Zotal and Mfundo might have already been lapped. This is such a fast track, remember? And look at that.
I don't think so. I don't think so. They've lapped them though. I don't think so. It doesn't look like that. Because it's just like 1 minute, 1 second. So there's 2 seconds. Nebo again to drive through penalty. Can what this guy? They don't let in.
Nebo with a 5-second time penalty, speeding under the safety car. He will definitely come to regret that. You're right.
And drive through penalty as well. Oh Lord, these guys.
You're correct that the Alpines have not yet been lapped. As I look at the gap to the leader, it's still within it's still within sort of
I think if they were a bit late before the safety car, they were going to be lapped because it's like a minute. Because you can see Sota is actually starting to close on as well. It's like 50 something seconds. Oh, he went to the pit. Oh, he's changing tires. He's doing the which track we did last time again. He wants to go all the way on hard.
Yeah, he wants, well, it would take a miracle for Zotal to be challenging to be back among the top runners as things stand. But in lap 7 of 27, under the safety car, the man who still leads...
He might come back up there because now the safety car is going to slow everyone down. You know, everyone, they're going to bunch up and... Zoltar, I know he has speed on this track. I think it's one of his favorite tracks as well because he can go 0-0 wing here. He's actually fast on this track. But let's see because he's not going to stop now. I bet you he's not going to stop now.
Absolutely. Catching up with the comments, as we're also going to pay close attention to how the rejoined Zotal fares towards the rest of this race now. Offense said bumper cars. And Justice was saying all the gloves are off, as you were mentioning earlier, Tindo, that the elbows are well and truly out. And it's a combination of that, and of course this being such a fast track, while you're trying to fight the driver next to you, in front of you, you completely miss your braking point, as we saw dramatically with the likes of Van Kobe, who interestingly, with that space of pits, finds himself now in P3, Tindo.
Yeah, he's in P3 now. Hey, there's just hope. But the thing is, he just not. He doesn't have to feel under pressure, because I feel like Bangobi, if he's under pressure, it takes advantage of him. Actually, he tends to panic because now it's going to be Sittler behind him, Loveness behind him. All those guys are quick, very quick. So he's gonna panic a bit, but you just need to keep it cool. You know, stay in your line. Don't try to fight the battle you can't win. If he's quicker, let him go.
And, watch those breaking points again as he looks to attack Lungs while keeping Sikley at bay, which is, Yeah, both those drivers ahead of and behind Bankobi. Definitely going to be a huge challenge for him. So Kaboza leads with a beautiful race start he had. We saw how superbly he challenged the top runners and found himself in the lead coming out of that initial chicane. Lungs, P2 for him. Remember that gap at some point was more than 2 seconds. So the person who definitely won't be too happy with this safety car is Kaboza, who managed so beautifully to establish a little bit of an advantage.
I hopefully, sorry to cut you, I hopefully Bangobi can do what 86 did yesterday, you know, to hold on Django, and then the guys in front can open a gap. I think it would be really interesting.
Absolutely.
I feel like Bangobi as well has pace on this track, because the way he's been recovering, even if he spins, he's going to recover again. So I feel like it might work perfect for him. But he just needs to hold on Sitley. He must hold him up. You must hold him up. You must fight with Loveness there. As Buddha, you know, it's one of those days, one of those seasons, I mean.
Yeah. We haven't got word yet from race control that the safety car is coming in. So presumably lap 10 is when we will get racing. Who's that? It's Buddha! On the safety car, sends it into the wall! As the Buddha crashes out, a man desperate for points sends it into the wall under the safety car. What on earth was going on there? He DNFs on those.
He was warming up the tires and the track warmed him up.
That's what I'm just keep on. I just under safety car. I'm a tire band, maybe. Marone, we can go repeat. Oh no, so we just keep on.
Come on, I'm a negotiation.
Yeah, maybe because of Spinanyana, Marabuta crash. Amina, Maraspuda. You were taking on my point.
Yes, he did dinga the point. He needed the point, and he's now out of the reckoning. That means 12 running drivers currently, especially if Mfundo can find his way back into this lobby. Loveness is currently P5, and Gawako D-Wax P6 from his teammate Mandla, who will absolutely rue that time penalty that he had for speeding on the safety car. P7 for him.
And Loveness almost crashed again. I don't know why are they doing this. You almost crashed now. You had to stop on the grass.
Well.
Are we commenting on tier 2 or tier 1 or tier 3? I'm kind of confused now, because now the way they are doing this, like this, making silly mistakes, you know, like we don't expect them, because we don't expect it, especially from these guys, you know, because these are top tier, and then we expect much way better from them. You know?
We really do, but yeah, we really do. I think maybe also the anxiety of trying, especially for the hard tires, to get them back up to temperature. We know how hard that can be after a safety car. So maybe, yeah, just a lot of, I don't know.
But I feel like this track, you know, it's, yes, you can warm up tires, it's good, but, you know, there's a long straight you're going to go. You know, there's a long straight you're still going to go, and you can still warm up your tires even on this long stretch, because the safety car still needs to come in the pit, and you still have to go again. Maybe, I don't know, but hey, they're just funny, I guess. Maybe they're all Ibus.
As Buddha was desperate, so desperate for the points, as Kaboza backs up the pack here. Tapiso currently 8th, and Nebo 9th, and Fundo 10th, and Kaboza is giving it a proper push. He's going for it. He's got about a half-second advantage now as he is being hunted down by this DRS train. Remember, we won't have DRS until about 3 laps or so from now. It'll be a couple of laps as Seaclay bridges the gap and inches closer and closer to the back of Bankobi. Into turn 1 comes the train, and Kaboza, will he go a little bit wide? No, he manages to keep it clean, keep it together. Lungs is being absolutely hunted by Seaclay. A couple of drivers are swapping places a little bit further down the grid. Here comes Seaclay on the attack onto Lungs, and Bankobi is struggling to keep up. Seaclay thinks about going on the outside, but not this time. Into the chicane they come, and Seaclay is unscathed, as is the top running Kaboza and Lungs, and Bankobi behind him. Beautiful stuff to manage to keep it clean here. We do not want to see any safety cars towards the end of this race. We just want to see pure, hard, good racing. And, of course, the man being cheered on his home race here in Italy is Cepiso. But he's currently running all the way down in P7. Already, Cepiso has fallen almost 3 seconds behind D-Wax and Gowacko. So he's got some work to do to give these Ferrari fans a lot to cheer about. Let's go back to the battle for the race lead and hop on board with Cicle, who has managed to build a huge gap between himself and Van Kobe, who can barely be seen from Cicle's onboards instead. Cicle tucks onto the inside. He thought about it, of course, not necessarily such a good place to overtake, but he had to go harder on the brakes there. Lungs manages to build a little bit of a breathing space between himself and Cicle. Capoza will be hoping, praying that Lungs can keep Cicle at bay, since Van Kobe has already been vanquished by the Haas driver over here. Through the left-hander comes the Red Bull, and Cicle, clean exit coming out of the chicane. And Van Kobe, who was surpassed by Cicle, now has to deal with the specter of Loveness in the Alfa Romeo, being cheered on by Josh, aka Damnesia, his teammate somewhere in South Africa. He was not able to race today, was Josh, but Loveness is going to be showing his trademark aggression, and he's going to give Van Kobe all the headaches as these medium tires go up against Van Kobe's hard tires. And Gowacko D-Wax is almost out of DRS of Loveness, as he teeters on the brink there. So we're going to see whether or not he can get that move done. Meanwhile, further down the grid, the Tier 1 veterans, that being Zotal and Malusi the Malusi, are battling it out. It's the battle for P8, as in fact, the battle for P7, because Cepiso is there and thereabouts. What can Zotal do? Can he keep it together? Further ahead, Tindo, interestingly, Capoza. Oh, Zotal!
Oh, maro sottile. Straight anche, bella con fruto spina. Maro vuoi spina lì sottile. Capsunga, pega, mangia per chiesa.
Zotal has had an almighty spin coming there out of that chicane, and Malusi the Malusi will say thank you very much, because you leave me to deal with Cepiso. You leave me to make the Ferrari fans have a little less to cheer about. Malusi now hunting down Cepiso for that P7 spot. A huge spin from Zotal, Tindo. Here they come now into turn 1. Malusi the Malusi, no incident for him. Cepiso trying to keep the spirits of the Tifosi, the Ferrari fans, as high as he possibly can. And, of course, we've lost 2 drivers since the start of this race thus far. Let's go back to the battle for the race lead. Zotifi, says Man Ray in the comment section. Zotal not having such a good time at that chicane. He will once again hope for another huge incident where he could atone for his mistake by virtue of a safety car. Zotal, of course, was in such a great position after qualifying, but network issues and that spin have really compromised his race thus far. Yes, Tindo.
I think so. I think not Zotal. I mean, sorry. I think with Dewax damaged his wing. I don't know how, but his wing is damaged. Is from my point of view. I don't know if I can need my glasses. Maybe I can't see properly, but he has a wing that is damaged. He's the one who just took out the yellow flag on sector 1.
And Gowacko losing the front left end plate of that wing. As you can see, he's absolutely going to be struggling with traction and grip there through some of those, well, pretty much through all the corners here. Of course, everybody running such a low downforce setup. Cicle is on the attack. Cicle is on the attack versus Lungs here, but Van Kobe has somehow managed to come back to within DRS range of the Haas driver. So Van Kobe is still dreaming of a podium finish here, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. And as Lungs defends from Cicle, Capoza inches further and further into the lead. The gap now.
I wanted to say the same thing. Like, Capoza is actually thanking his gods in there, like, because he's actually moving. Now he's 2 seconds in front. The more Lungs and the Cicle fight, he's going to be flying all over and going forward, you know.
Absolutely, he's just going to need to keep it together, Will Capoza. Keep a cool, calm, collected head as they come through this very chicane where Zotal came unstuck last time out. Zotal, unfortunately, has left the lobby once again, so those network issues really haunting the Alpine driver. This is the perspective from from Van Kobe, who's hunting down Cicle. As you can see, Cicle on the gearbox, so close to the back of that RB18. Van Kobe has used up pretty much all of his battery to make sure that he stays within DRS. range here, and he opens up his rear wing, does the McLaren driver, trying to catch up going into turn 1. Cicle goes for it on the inside of the Red Bull, and he has the advantage. Cicle is ahead. Cicle is now up to P2, and Lungs will now have the advantage of DRS in his fight back here. But as these two swap places, Van Kobe even closer to the battle. So Lungs, even though he's fighting to reclaim his P2 spot, he is not going to have it that simple, because Van Kobe is going to take advantage of any mistake that either of Cicle or Lungs can make. But Cicle being Cicle, mistakes within a race are definitely something that is very, very rare. And right now, what was a 2-second gap is something that Cicle will be looking to claw back and back sector after sector, corner after corner, and Kaboza will just be really sweating a little bit to hang on to the race lead here. We still have about 13 laps of this race to go. Lungs got something, 3-second time penalty. Oh, that'll compromise his prospects for a race win, but he'll still have to fight to stay within the podium places. It's a similar scenario to what we saw with the 86er, but of course his 3-second time penalty came far, far later, and Sun Hashira in the Tier 2 race last night managed to hang on to the race lead despite that 3-second time penalty. So anything can happen, as Cicle is the quickest man on track. 123.579, 1.5 seconds behind the race leader, Kapoza. Malusi versus Tapiso.
No, yes. Go ahead.
He thought about it, did Malusi, but he tucks back into the slipstream. Perhaps he'll go on to it just before the corner here. He's got DRS, does Malusi. He goes on the inside, but Tapiso way too close to the line there. Yes. And Tapiso manages to hang on there. This is Malusi's vantage point in lap 15 of 27. Attack, says the team in the Mercedes garage. Meanwhile, the entire circuit is screaming at Tapiso, defend for your life, in the same way that Charles Leclerc defended Lewis Hamilton so valiantly at this very circuit in 2019. Tapiso has to challenge the best of Leclerc as far as his race prospects are concerned. Malusi is not going to make it easy for him, of course. On this straight, it's a golden opportunity for Malusi. He tucks on the outside, of course, as far as the next one is concerned. Under the brakes, Malusi goes ahead of the Ferrari, and there's a huge sigh of disappointment from the Tifosi, who will hope that Tapiso can reclaim that spot. Beautiful battling all over the grid here. Meanwhile, Neto is hunting down Mandla, whose red light is flashing, as you can see, ahead of Neto's car. He's commandeered a Red Bull here today, and let's see whether or not he can gain some sort of an advantage towards the final sequence of corners here. And Neto is still hovering at the 7/10 mark, hunting down Mandla and making sure that his battery does not fall to down below 10%, as Mandla's red light is indicating a little further ahead. Tapiso is fighting back against Mello. Yes, Tindo.
No, I was about to say the Nebo should be loyal. He should have stuck with the Haas. Now you went to Red Bull thinking he's going to be faster. He's the opponent. He's going backwards now, Nebo.
Yeah, struggling to keep up with the front runners there. Meanwhile, Malusi and Tapiso, it's a beautiful battle. They keep on swapping places, do these two. So Tapiso might have taken advantage of Malusi on that main straight earlier on, even though Malusi did manage to pip the Ferrari driver. So the Tifosi, the iconic fans here in Monza, having a lot to cheer about. Tapiso flying the red flag as high as he possibly can. It's lap 16 of 27. When do you expect the pit window to come into play here, and for some of these drivers to start coming in, Tindo?
I think they might start coming in the lap 16 or 17. You know, that's when I think they're gonna be starting coming in. And also, like, it's gonna be interesting now for the top three, because whoever made the first move, and they need to make sure they utilize the undercut. Instead that you do the undercut, the overcut. Because I can see Lungs again. He's giving pressure. Oh! They almost touched there on the first corner. There, he just overtook Usihle as well. And so it's going to be interesting on their pit strategy at the moment.
It's beautiful battles up and down the track here. Lungs getting that move done, taking advantage of that long straight, and coming into through turns 1 and 2, that initial chicane. Lungs managed to overtake Cicle, and this will be also good news for Kaboza. Lungs is fighting for himself, of course, his own prospects, and he's giving Kaboza so much to to be grateful for as the race leader comes out of that turn, keeps on taking a glance through his mirrors. He can see how much of a battle, how much of a fight Kubota is putting on.
I think Melo spun because he dropped places now. He's P8 now.
Seekme overtakes Lungs over there at that section of the track. Melo might have spun back there because Melo finds himself behind Ingawako D-Wax. And if Malusi is not careful, he will be overtaken even by Mandla. That gap currently having at the 7-second mark.
He should have spun on this on the second sector. You know that 10 when on the second sector starts. That's when he spun because I saw the yellow flag just now. I thought it was Mfundo. I was about to say Mfundo's boss is spinning here. You know? So I think it was Melo.
Here comes Lungs once again looking to overtake Sikle. What a beautiful sequence of battles these two have had. But as they keep on spinning towards the back of the pack, like Tindo has just mentioned, at the front of the pack, it's a battle of wills, a battle of wits between Williams, Haas, and the Red Bull of Lungs. Yes, Tindo?
Yeah, if you notice something that the weather is changing, I'm sure there's expecting rain, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's why they're pushing this long as well.
That is absolutely a crucial point that you raise. Perhaps they're staying out on these hard tires because they know towards the end of the race they're going to flip onto a set of intermediate tires at the very least. So that is a beautiful, beautiful point that you raised there, Tindo. And wouldn't that spice things up? Wouldn't that make things interesting? Especially if there's another sprinkle of a safety car as well. Well, 1.3 seconds is the gap between Kapoza and Sikle, but look at that. It's hovering at the 1 second mark.
Look at the map. Look at the map. The distance between them, the top three and the rest.
Yeah, I do hope that we're not having network issues. Please let us know if you can hear us in the comment section. Crash seems not to be hearing us as far as the commentary is concerned. Please let us know if the stream is still functional and everything is still all right as the clouds are gathering here on the horizon out here in Monza.
I can hear you because I'm also watching it live stream as well here, so I can hear you. I think it's him. Crash, he needs to change his network, or maybe the power box is damaged again.
All right, thanks folks for Tsapiso gets a 10-second time penalty for cutting the corners. He was trying to fight his way to claw his way up the standings here, but man, these hard tires have really been pushed for quite a long way here. Thank you very much for confirming that the audio is still fine. Lungs has huffed and puffed. He's tried to stay in touch of Sikle, but the Haas driver, the champion, has just had too much. Oh, Kaboza defending for his life gets a 3-second time penalty, and that pretty much is that as far as his race win prospects are concerned, unless, of course, Sikle himself racks up a 3-second time penalty, which would definitely make things very, very interesting towards the end here. Let's hop on board with your champion as Justice with those crying emojis says, oh no, Kapizi! Here comes Sikle on the attack. Is Kaboza's red light flashing? Not yet. Sikle is going to think about it, but no, he's going to bide his time as the Kapoza comes through turns 1 and 2.
Do they want to change from look, he almost canned you. That was a close one, and then he just lost so much time from it's gone. But I think I don't know, they want to change from hard to soft same time or what, because they are pushing these tires,
They really are. It looks like I think I still see a couple of drops of rain, like very, very minimally though. So we'll get a sense of whether or not this rain will well and truly increase in intensity as these laps go on along. Now, understandably, the longer this race has gone on, the harder it has been to keep these tires alive, so to speak. So Kaboza really playing it very, very carefully, especially considering he's already racked up that time penalty. Couple of drops of rain here. So we're going to see whether or not it's going to be intense enough for these top runners, or indeed everybody, to consider mediums. Look at that.
Diwax's score is too early. The track is too dry. He's going to be losing a lot of time. He's going to be losing a lot of time. Unless maybe they can feel it better. Because, as we are in the commentary, maybe them, the driving, you can feel, okay, there's a difference now. But it's too early. It's too early.
Yeah, and Gowacko D-Wax, the track has hardly started looking like slick at all. The heavens have opened, that says justice. So Ngawako D-Wax rolling the dice, going in early, as Seaclay is really putting Kapoza under all the pressure here, not giving him an ounce of breathing room. And Seaclay looks to be thinking about it on this section of track, but into the chicane they come, and Seaclay is content to stay right on his tail. He can pretty much see the specks of sweat dripping from Kapoza's helmet. It's not raindrops, Seaclay. It's Kapoza's sweat, because you're putting him under so much pressure with 6 laps of racing here to go. Here is Seaclay with the advantage of DRS. Remember, the stewards have not yet disabled the DRS. D-Wax is pulling a Debo Croc. D-Wax for the win. Well, can he do it? I wonder. I think at this time, Seaclay is just content to stay behind Kapoza. He knows that Kapoza is using his battery, so he's playing mind games, but he tucks in outside of the Williams, and in lap 21 of 27, the 3-time champion asserts his dominance and takes control of the race lead here in lap 21 of 27. Kapoza tried, he hung on, he huffed, he puffed, he pushed, but will he fight straight back coming into turn 1, Tindo? He takes the outside line, does Kapoza, and he's ahead going into turn 1. It's a beautiful DRS battle. These two passing the baton from the one to the other. As far as the race lead is concerned, Kapoza has a little bit of a snap, but manages to correct it, and he still hangs on to the race lead.
The track is wet. The track is wet now. That's why they're struggling with this. Let's see how if Udiwax is closing in, but hey, he's still losing a lot of time. Maybe, but I feel like maybe in the next lap they can call it on the next lap, because right now it's too early.
Oh, hamba Kapoza, kusho crash lapho kuma comments. Amaria pushes, Kapoza pushes. Hey, upushile.
Indeed, Kapoza is here, says Escalo. He has been absolutely sensational, has Kapoza this season. He's given Seaclay a lot to work for. He's made Seaclay work for it, but Seaclay's going to work on getting the race lead into the chicane. Will they make contact? They do make a little bit of contact. Kapoza goes off track, but manages to keep it together. Siboniso, Kapoza, Mkize is fighting for his life as Seaclay puts his elbows out.
He needs to slow down and give him the place back.
Well, it's elbows out as far as these two are concerned, but don't you take your eyes off this race, because slightly behind them, Seaclay comes into the pits. He called it earlier than Kapoza.
But I think he's right, because Udiwax is actually starting to improve his times now. He's like, the gap is, no, I'm lying, I'm wrong.
Seaclay, interestingly, goes for the soft compound of tires. Well. Wow. Seaclay and Loveness are the two drivers who opted for those soft compound set of tires.
I think they can work the softer tires, because the track is not that wet. So they can work the softer tires, because, they're different from the mediums and also the hard ones. For inters, they will lose so much time. But the track is still not that wet like that. It needs intermediate tires as well.
I do wonder. The DRS has finally been disabled now, which could indicate, Tindo, that in the final 4 laps of this race, we might get. It's a roll of the dice. Do you go Inter? Do you go? Considering that they've disabled.
Let's see what this combo is going to work. Yo.
Considering they disabled DRS. What do? Do you gamble for Inters now?
I would go for Inter. There's nothing to lose, because at the same time, you still have to change the tires. So now I think it's buying time. The race leaders are buying time to see whether we can go for Inters. Is the rain going to be bad or what? But Seaclay looks like he's moving as well, because he's closing on Uzotawi's time. There's a Sector 3 incident. Who's that? Should be Melo.
Here comes Kapoza into the comments.
Yeah.
He is going for the intermediate tires, as is Lungs. Well, I wonder who would have made the right call here. Will Seaclay come out ahead? Yes, he will. Yes. Towards the end of this race, Seaclay is on Tapiso's tail, who has interestingly opted to stay out on those old hard tires. Tapiso, what is going on here?
No, I think Tapiso did pit. If I'm
He
not
did, yes,
mistaken.
he did.
Yes, he did.
His tires are 17 laps old, yes.
Yeah, so he has the right to stay out. There's nothing to lose, so you might as well hang on to it. Be a Lando
For
Norris.
track position.
Yeah, for track position. Be a Lando Norris. You might lose maybe 2 places or 3, but you might be in top 5 there or top 6. You will see how it goes though. But he did pit earlier.
Well, the man currently leading the race, thanks to all of that drama in the pit lane, is Ban Kobe. And what a feeling this will be. Of course, Ban Kobe has not had too much of a taste of leading a lot of races since his Tier 2 days. And right now he's taken full advantage of everybody coming in. And with 24 laps of 27 gone, if it doesn't rain any harder than this, with a 13-second gap, can Ban Kobe keep it together? No, he opts to come into the pit here. Wouldn't that have been dramatic if Ban Kobe opted to stay out and it didn't rain any harder than that? Might have found himself perhaps on a dramatic podium, but
it looks like it's raining heavy now. Though it looks like the track is wet now. Oh, and Moby just went to the pit.
He came into the pit for those fresh intermediate compound of tires. And right now, Cicle has resumed the lead of this race. It hasn't been smooth sailing from the champion, but right now he's going to have to put on a masterclass of wet weather driving on a set of slick tires, because as you look on his onboard, Tindo, you can see that the track is not exactly dry here at all. It is really darkening as the rain really starts to make its presence felt. He's going to have his work cut out for him because the gap between him and Kaboza, who's the first driver following on those intermediates, is shrinking and shrinking. Tapiso is staying out. It's a monumental roll of the dice for the driver on his home race, and Kaboza is hovering at the 10-second gap, at the mark of around 10 seconds. So as lap 25 will soon be 26, we're just going to have to see whether or not Kaboza and Lungs are making headway on the race to catch up to Cicle. Of course, they have a huge advantage now. They're gonna.
Zota and Melo, they're having a fight here. Software versus Inter, they're side by side going on a corner.
Let's go. So Malusi rolled the dice. He's on the softs. Kaboza, meanwhile, has overtaken Tapiso, who was slowing him down. And now Kaboza is hunting down the race leader. And the gap there is about 10 seconds. Is it enough? Let us know in the comment section. Number 1, who's your driver of the day? Number 2, does Kaboza have enough time to catch up to Cicle? The gap is hovering at 9.8 seconds. Is it too little too late for Kaboza?
Nah, I don't think it's too late though. Because they're still left. I don't know. I think it's too late. Cicle is going to hang on to this. I think it's too late.
Too late for mama. Lap 26 of 27. Can he get it done? It's a tall order. Cicle, meanwhile, let's see how much he's struggling, if at all. He's got about 67% worth of his battery remaining. Remember, France Tier 3 says Smirch Django. Absolutely. We saw Debo Croc, Bongani put on a masterclass of catching up. It's not wet enough, says the Crash. This track is too short, says Justice. Perhaps if it was longer, then Kaboza would have had a fighting chance. But right now, he's pushing is Kaboza. 7.6 seconds. But remember, also, it's not only about catching up. He would also need to build a 3-second gap. So essentially, it's not a 7-second, it's a 10-second gap that Kaboza effectively has as Cicle has begun the final lap of the race. Loveness retires from the race. It's a DNF on the final lap, and Loveness will be absolutely kicking himself. You can see on the bottom right of your screen.
The track was wet. The track is wet.
Yeah, that's soft tires. Well, is that bad news for Cicle? Well.
It looks like it is, because look at how much opposite opening is closing on him. Like, very, very...
Malusi! All these soft tire runners are falling. They're dropping like flies. So the track is definitely wet enough now. And that gap, which was hovering at the 8 seconds, is now down to 5 seconds. But Seatley, Composer is catching up! Can he catch up towards the end of this race? He's got 4.2! It's 4 seconds. Will it be 3.9 seconds? It's going to be an absolutely sensational end to this race here. It's 3.9 seconds. Composer, his heart must be pounding. Seatley, driver of the day, says Estelo. Do you agree? There's a couple of shouts for Composer for driver of the day. He can see the hatch driver. He can see the hatch driver, and Seatley is going to have to be Cepiso DNF. Cepiso DNF breaking the heart of the Tifosi. In the final lap, it's all coming unstuck, undone here. Composer wasn't close enough. Seatley's gonna point that hat straight.
One more lap.
No, this is the final lap. This is the final lap. And Seatley wins in dramatic fashion in Monza on a set of soft compound tires. Composer tried all he did, and in the end, his AI hits the back of the hat there. He pushed in Composer, but it wasn't close enough. But still, P2 represents him matching his season's best result. And Lunds will come home for Red Bull in P3. Ban Kobe, what a day for him on behalf of McLaren. P4 for him. And Neville, a beautiful recovery drive, having started at the back of the pack. P5 for him. And Gowacko, D-Wax will bring it home in P6. Here he comes now. He will point that Alpha Tauri down towards the main straight. P6 for him. And Zotal, who's had such a dramatic day, will come home P7 from Mandla Romeo, who race after race is notching up and racking up those points. Tindo, what an absolutely beautifully dramatic race we've had.
Hey, Sid is a lucky boy. He's a very lucky boy.
Secretly, absolutely lucky. He reckons.
But that's what I love about him, because he takes the risk, you know. He takes a risk. It's like he is undermining everyone with, I'm going to show them I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, even the track is wet. Everyone is going on Inter, he goes for soft. You know.
Absolutely brilliant, beautiful stuff. But one of the first people to join us here in the commentary box, he's fresh off a memorable race, a memorable podium. He led the race for so long. Composer, how does that feel? Congratulations!
Ish, had a lot of laps there, or I'll say that haven't been opened up as much as I wanted them to open up. And then I had the moments with the Inters, like on the lap 25, I think it was, coming out to the final corner. I had a massive half spin. I saved it from the wall, so I think that cost me, because I was gonna be able to take Cisse. But it was going to be a question of whether I could build up the 3-second time penalty. But yeah, tough race. Had the straight line speed on them. So when the rain came, it was a bit tough, because I didn't have that downforce needed for the rain. So I was very slow on the corners. Yeah, but yeah, solid race. Otherwise, just unfortunate for my teammates to get some points. But yeah, solid driving.
It was sensational watching you, man, both in the qualifying as well as the race proper. What's been the difference maker for you in terms of finding another level this season?
Yeah, I think I've stopped over preparing, because as I said, I just practiced those 30 minutes just to do a race where I do like 5 to 10 laps just to see where my tire temps are. So I don't over prepare anymore. I just do slight preparation, then just go into the race. I think that's it. So maybe I was just accustomed to what this game requires in terms of driving style. But yeah, I haven't been doing anything different. It's just that I haven't had time to practice. So.
Yeah. Ah, man. And watching the results of that, or of that adjusted preparation, has been really, really beautiful to watch. All throughout the race in the comments section, people really, really giving you your flowers. Beautiful stuff. P2 with another podium place for Composer, but the man who will not be defeated. You could throw rain at him. You could throw bad starts at him. You could throw finishing a race on soft tires in wet tire conditions. Seatley, how does that feel? Congratulations.
Never road dog. Never road dog. I actually asked Bangobi to come through here with me. Yeah, but Composer, you were quick. I'd put you and Bangobi there at the top easily, dude. Easily. You guys are both driver of the day, in my opinion. Yeah, but yo, what What a fun race, man.
It was fun to watch. It was so dramatic. I don't know, Tsikle, how aware you were of all the incidents taking place around you, especially in the first 5 or so laps. The people missing braking points, people crashing into each other, people making mistakes. Were you aware of that? I know you had a huge fight on your hands versus Lungs and Kaposa.
There's a time Lungs was losing time on Kopoza, and I just wanted us to just race, be in each other's DRS. That was unfortunate, meaning I had to fight again to get into Kopoza's DRS, and man ran 0-0 wins, I think, because even with DRS, he was pulling. So I was so confused. I was actually so confused because I'm also running pretty low wings.
Yeah.
He was crazy on the straight line.
Man, that race, the battling between all of you is so beautiful to watch. Kaposa, could you just let us know? Good evening, Glenn Carson. Good to see you in the comment section. Kaposa, what wing setup were you running? 0-0?
Actually, it's not 0. I'm actually afraid of 0-0, but even the wings I'm running are a bit sketchy. So it's 2-1.
Wow.
2 in front and 1 in the rear.
Much lower than
Yeah, so I saw this when City had DRS, he couldn't catch up. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
Even if he passes, I can just DRS past him again.
And your wings, City?
Yeah, I picked a very stupid wing setup.
2-4.
4-0. Wow.
The rear was all over the place. So yeah. I'm shocked I finished that race with softs in the rain. I'm very shocked.
Man, that was just incredible stuff. Cikle, I just want to hear from you. When you gambled, right? You made you played your hand. You went for the soft tires. A couple of laps later, the race control says DRS disabled. Did your heart sink there? Or was it a case of, all right, just, knuckle down, head down, focus, try to keep it together?
I learned this from a 14-year-old, by the way. FRA elite.
Yeah.
He always goes on, like, no matter what. If he crashes, well, that's bad luck.
Yeah.
But he always goes on. Losing 20 seconds, that's ridiculous towards the end of the race. So rather just go on. You don't know what will happen behind you. You don't know the type of battling that will happen behind you. It's in the rain. There could be crashes. Next thing, there's a bigger gap between me and the car behind. So, yeah, Jeff was like, softs. I was like, softs. Jeff knows better than me. So, yeah, it worked. It really worked.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Tindo, I don't know if you have any further questions or remarks?
No, it was a good race, I think Sitle today, you met your match today in Italy. it was pretty tight for you, and you got the win. I think Koboza only needed one more lap, and he was gonna open the gap. And but other than that, no, it was a good one. Sitle, I like the way that you took a gamble on soft, and you didn't turn back. And it shows the courage as well. Like you trust your
instincts. Yeah.
Hey, but I really enjoyed the race. Although the other guys, I think you need to have a meeting with the other guys. They need to be serious. You can't be crashing on safety car. You can't be making silly mistakes during safety car. And drive through is something that we all know that when it's under safety car, you need to slow down. So when someone is getting a drive through, it's really surprising. And also, Sitle, I don't know if you noticed that your teammate today moved to Red Bull and he left us. I don't know what is the problem with your engine. So you went for Red Bull today. Did you see that?
He went to Red Bull. Lucky him.
Gentlemen, that was just a beautiful, beautiful display. Such a great advertisement for Tier 1 racing in some of the battles that we saw today. Let's catch up with the final comments. A couple of shouts for Kaboza for Driver of the Day, and Cikle, and Band Kobe, who's so happy in the comment section to find himself among the decent haul of points here today. And it's good to see you, Glenn Carson and Ammo in the comment section, and Justice and Crash and Jambo Maspano, everybody, Sanale, and Kasana, everybody who's been in the comment section. Thank you so much. This has been a beautiful week of Breakaway League Racing. Remember, we're back on Monday for Tier 2 and 3. I think to finish some of the races that were missed as a result of the load shedding, we'll have Tier 2 and 3 on Monday, starting from 7:30. And Tier 2, or rather Tier 1, these guys will be back on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Congratulations, Kaboza. I'm not sure.
We might get Tier 2 again on Tuesday, but let's just hope, the Exco can put that into consideration too. So maybe the Tier 2 might race after Tier 1 just to, to catch up with the days, because, we don't want to drag it along again. We're going to get into December. December is going to be busy, pretty hectic for some of us. So hopefully, we can just finish off everything next week. So we're just hoping for the best,
Yep, there's still the Circuit of the Americas and Hungary, Silverstone, and Canada to complete, as well as Spain, Miami, and Mexico for Tier 1.
I think for Tier 2 it should be Spain. Not Spain. I mean, I'll tell you just now. Give me it's USA, Jeddah, Great Britain, Hungary, and Austria.
All right. We have more than you guys. We still have 6 races remaining.
Yes, definitely. So
for tier 2 we have 5. I don't know about Tier 1. Tier 1 they still have 6.
Yeah, I think we still have 6 remaining.
No, I think Tier 1. I thought Tier 1 was lesser.
But we'll make sure that we communicate on our social media pages, everybody. So just do keep a close eye on that. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your presence. We will see you for the next Breakaway League race on Monday. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Congrats, C-Clay and Kaboza.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.